What if I told you that the next 12 months could either catapult you into the life you've always dreamed of, or drag you 1 year deeper into regret? That your future self is already watching from the distance, silently begging you not to waste another precious year drifting, distracted, and disconnected from your own potential? Listen closely. The clock is not your ally. Every second that slips away unnoticed is a second that could have rewritten your destiny, and it will not wait for you to feel ready. It doesn't pause for your doubts or insecurities. It races on, merciless and indifferent. The question is, will you race with it? Or will you once again let it outrun your purpose? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people never live. They just exist. They follow routines carved by others. They wake up not with excitement but with exhaustion. They chase weekends like fugitives fleeing a prison. Their ambition, muted. Their courage, absent. And their dreams, left behind like childhood toys too fragile for the harshness of reality. But you're listening to this because a part of you is still awake. A part of you knows that mediocrity is a lie you've accepted for too long. That the fire inside you is not dead just, smothered under years of fear, comfort, and compromise. And now, it's time to reignite it. You do not need another year of planning. You do not need another online course or a motivational quote. What you need is a decision, a line in the sand, a moment so sharp and final that it cuts through the fog of your excuses and reveals who you really are. This is that moment. This year must be different, not because it's a new calendar page, but because you're choosing to be new, because you're done shrinking to fit in, because you've had enough of playing small in a world that desperately needs your greatness. And you know what's standing between you and everything you want? One thing: consistency. Not talent, not luck, not even time, but the daily decision to show up when it's hard, to keep building when no one is watching, to outlast your own comfort. Every empire is built one disciplined day at a time, not in a flash of inspiration, but in a quiet storm of repetition, of resilience, of refusal to quit. That's the cost of greatness. And if you're not willing to pay it now, you'll pay for it later with regret, with mediocrity, with a life half-lived. Because here's what no one tells you. Wasted time isn't neutral. It builds, it accumulates, and eventually it becomes your identity. You don't just lose time, you become the kind of person who loses time. You internalize failure, you normalize delay, you start to believe that goals are for others, not for you. And if you don't intervene, you create a life of quiet resignation. You go through motions, wear masks, and tell stories to justify your stagnation. You laugh off your dreams. You downplay your ambition. You build a cage from your own rationalizations, and then you live in it. But inside you, there is a different voice, one that whispers during quiet nights, one that screams when you're stuck in traffic or scrolling endlessly. It's the voice of the real you, the you who knows you were made for more, the you who remembers what it feels like to be alive, to chase, to hunger, to believe. That voice will not be silenced forever. You can drown it with distractions, you can numb it with routine, but eventually it resurfaces louder, bolder, more desperate. And if you keep ignoring it, it doesn't disappear, it becomes pain. Because unrealized potential always turns into pain, not the sharp kind, but the dull, chronic ache that follows you everywhere. It haunts your mornings and poisons your nights. You smile, but inside you know you're settling. You laugh, but there's a tightness in your chest that never quite fades. That's the cost of inaction. That's the price of waiting for a better time. And here's the punchline. There is no better time. There is only now. So, make a decision. Not a wish, not a vague hope, a real, ruthless, unbreakable decision. Decide who you will be 12 months from now, and then live like it's already true. Talk like it. Walk like it. Build like it. Let your habits betray your future self, not your past. Let every day be a vote for the person you're becoming. And when it gets hard, because it will remember this: difficulty is not a sign to stop. It's a signal that you're on the right path, that you're confronting resistance because you're no longer drifting. This year can be the most powerful chapter of your life, but only if you write it with intention. Only if you show up like your future depends on it, because it does. You're not here to repeat another cycle. You're here to break it, to rewrite the narrative, to look back a year from now and whisper, that was the moment everything changed. Do not waste another year. You don't need more time. You need to start. You see, your future is not a lottery ticket. It's a blueprint. Every day that you move without direction, you're discarding bricks meant to build your legacy. You're not just wasting hours. You're tearing down potential before it ever sees the light of action. And deep down you know this. That's why even your moments of pleasure are haunted by guilt. That's why distractions don't satisfy, because they're not aligned with your higher self. They're not the food your spirit craves. You don't want more entertainment. You want more meaning. You want more creation, more progress, more impact. But meaning requires sacrifice. It demands discomfort. It demands that you say no to your old identity and yes to the version of yourself that doesn't just fantasize but builds, that doesn't wait but executes, that doesn't wonder but works. Think about this. You are one bold decision away from momentum, one consistent week away from belief, one relentless month away from transformation. That's how close you are. But most people never get there because they keep restarting. They let the discomfort of discipline outweigh the agony of regret until it's too late. You're not most people. You are capable of more than motivation. You're capable of mastery. But mastery is not sexy. It's not viral. It's not celebrated in the beginning. It's invisible, repetitive, quiet. It happens in private before it's ever praised in public. Are you willing to build in silence? To evolve in obscurity? To keep showing up when applause is absent and progress feels slow? Because if you are, you've already won. The game is not about speed, it's about not quitting. And here's the irony. The same energy it takes to maintain a life of mediocrity is enough to build a life of excellence. The same hours, the same mind, the same body. The only difference is direction. If you're going to be exhausted anyway, exhausted for a cause, if you're going to stress for a purpose, if you're going to struggle for greatness, don't trade your suffering for nothing. Let it mean something. Let it birth something. The next 12 months are not just time passing. They are an invitation to rise, to heal, to create, to lead, to be remembered not as someone who almost did something, but as someone who did. Do not go back to sleep. The world has enough people asleep to their own lives. Be awake, be alive, be relentless, be the exception. Because in the end, it won't matter what you hoped for. It won't matter what you planned. It will only matter what you built, what you became, what you left behind. Make this year unforgettable not because it was easy, but because it was yours. And remember this, the person you want to become is already within you, trapped behind years of hesitation, distraction, and comfort. But that version of you doesn't need permission to emerge. It needs a commitment, a vow, not to the world but to yourself, a private declaration that enough is finally enough. You weren't born to blend in. You weren't born to be average. You weren't born to live a recycled life of repetition and safe choices. You are here to break patterns, not repeat them. You are here to rewrite the story, not follow the script. When your days become sacred, your life becomes unstoppable. When every morning begins with purpose and every night ends with pride, you stop drifting and start directing. That's what this year demands of you, not perfection, but precision. Not hype, but habit. Not talk, but transformation. So burn the old timeline. Let the past be done. Your future is not found in reflection. It's forged in discipline, in decisions that seem small today but echo forever. It's built in the hours no one sees and the pain no one celebrates. And if you want a different life, you need to become a different person. Not a better version of your old self, but a new self altogether. The kind of person who is obsessed with growth, addicted to progress, relentless in the face of setbacks. The kind of person who doesn't just start strong, but finishes stronger. Because greatness doesn't shout at whispers. It invites only the committed, the focused, the disciplined. It turns its back on the curious and reveals itself to the devoted. And if you're still listening, then maybe, just maybe, you were meant to be one of the few who answer the call. Your breakthrough won't come from luck. It will come from your next choice, your next morning, Your next moment of discomfort faced and conquered. That's how you build I-tone courageous decision at a time. So rise. Rise with intention, rise with fire, rise with the quiet, knowing that this time nothing will stop you. Because now you're no longer trying to change your life, you are changing it. Right now, with this decision, with this day, and with every day after, this is your year. Burn it into your bones. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself, the excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting. You override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. Because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion but by decision, and decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway. Because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So, move. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself, the excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting. You override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion but by decision. And decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway. Because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So, move. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself, the excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting, you override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion, but by decision. And decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway. Because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So, move. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself, the excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting. You override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion but by decision. And decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway. Because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So, move. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself, the excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting, you override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion but by decision. And decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway. because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So, move. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself. The excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting, you override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion but by decision. And decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway. Because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So, move. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself, the excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting. You override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion, but by decision. And decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway, because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So, move. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself, the excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting, you override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion but by decision. And decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway, because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So move. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself, the excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting. You override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion but by decision. And decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway, because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So move. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself. The excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting. You override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion but by decision. And decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway, because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So, move. Success is not something you pursue, it's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the weaker parts of yourself, the excuses, the hesitation, the fear of failure. You don't eliminate these by waiting. You override them by action. Act even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it, because that's when it counts the most. That's when you're rewriting your limits. That's when you're no longer driven by emotion but by decision. And decision is the birthplace of power. You won't always feel ready. Do it anyway. You won't always feel motivated. Show up anyway, because readiness is a luxury. Discipline is a necessity. Your future won't wait for your mood to catch up. It's being shaped right now by your willingness to move despite resistance. So move. Success is not something you pursue. It's something you become. And becoming that version of you is a daily act of war, not against the world, but against the... And now, we move forward. Beyond what's been taught, beyond what's been repeated, into a space where few are willing to go. The space of quiet execution. No applause, no lights, just discipline meeting purpose. This is where dreams are sculpted in silence, where no one's watching but everything counts. You don't become exceptional by being seen. You become exceptional by choosing the hard path when no one is offering praise. Consistency is not glamorous, but it is powerful. If you keep showing up in the dark, in the cold, in the chaos, life bends in your direction, not immediately, not obviously, but inevitably. Each morning, you are offered the same challenge. Choose growth or choose comfort. One leads you somewhere, the other nowhere. The rare ones pick growth so consistently that comfort begins to feel like death. They start to equate ease with decay, and so they press forward, even when they're tired, especially when they're tired. The man who wins is not the one who always feels strong. It's the one who acts, even when he feels broken. The world rewards clarity. Clarity of intention, clarity of effort, clarity of message. And when your life speaks with clarity, people listen even before you speak a word. But you must earn that clarity by walking through your own confusion, by facing your own chaos. No shortcuts, no borrowed wisdom, just the raw, unfiltered reality of finding out who you are under pressure. Growth doesn't come from knowing, it comes from doing. You don't become by thinking, you become by acting. And the truth is, you already know what to do. The only gap is between your knowledge and your execution. Close the gap every day. The life you're after, it's already possible. But possibility is nothing without commitment. Make a vow, not to others, to yourself, that you will not retreat, that you will not negotiate with weakness, that you will not ask life to be easier, but you will become stronger. There's no plan B for those who are truly committed. There's only one road, and it goes through resistance, rejection, and relentless repetition. But that's the price of greatness, and it's a price few are willing to pay. That's why few are ever remembered. Your name can echo not because you were loud, but because you were consistent, relentless, unshakable, the kind of force that even time respects. Let this be your legacy. Quiet strength, invisible preparation, relentless advancement. Because when your effort is constant, your results become inevitable. And while others are distracted, you'll be building. While others chase validation, you'll chase progress. Not because it's easy, but because you've chosen to matter. Every minute you stay true to your vision, you separate yourself from the ordinary. You become the rare breed, the one who is obsessed with progress, not praise. You'll be underestimated. That's your advantage. You'll be doubted. Let that fuel you. You'll be misunderstood. Good. Stay mysterious. Because the ones who leave a mark are never the ones who tried to fit in. Start before you're ready. Show up before you feel confident. Speak before you're sure. You grow in motion, not in contemplation. Every step forward is a statement. I refuse to live on autopilot. Greatness isn't built in sprints. It's carved in inches. Quiet, steady inches that no one applauds until they do. You must outlast the noise. That's how you win. When they give up, you show up. When they disappear, you double down. When the world looks away, you dig deeper. Pain is the admission fee to power. Doubt is the toll booth on the road to mastery. And failure, that's just tuition. The question is not, will it be hard? The question is, will you keep going? People will talk. Let them. People will judge. Let them. None of them can outwork you in silence. In the end, they will remember not what you said, but how you showed up, how you endured, how you refused to fold. You are here for more than survival. You are here to shape, to build, to inspire. That doesn't happen through comfort. It happens through relentless pursuit. So rise. Even if it's slow, even if it's heavy, even if no one sees you rising. Every drop of effort matters. Every silent victory counts. Because what you do in the dark determines who you become in the light. You don't need more motivation. You need movement. Action without applause. Effort without entitlement. Stop negotiating with your limits. They don't get a vote anymore. Only your mission does. There is no perfect moment. There is only this one. And what you choose now decides who you'll be tomorrow. Success is not some distant dream. It's the reward for those who refuse to break, who rise every time they fall, who show up even when the feeling is gone. Discipline is the bridge, and every time you cross it, you get stronger. You must learn to crave the unsexy work, the repetition, the mundane, the invisible hours that turn into undeniable results. Because that's the difference. The average quit when it's boring, the exceptional build during boredom. And one day, the gap between who you were and who you've become will be unrecognizable. You'll look back and smile, not because it was easy, but because you endured, you transformed, you became. Every chapter of struggle was a seed, every setback was a setup, every sacrifice was compounding. So, stay the course, hold the line, make your future self proud that you didn't fold when it hurt the most. Your pace doesn't have to be fast, it just has to be forward. Silence the doubt. Starve the excuses. Fuel the fire. And if no one claps for you, clap for yourself. That's how leaders are born. That's how legacies begin. You are not the product of your circumstances. You are the architect of your response. So design it well. Build it strong. Make it unshakable. And when you're tempted to slow down, remember this. Your story is being written one action at a time. Write something worth reading. Live something worth remembering. You weren't meant to drift. You were built to drive with direction, with intensity, with meaning. Don't wait for clarity. Create it. Don't hope for strength. Build it. One rep at a time. One choice at a time. The days you don't feel like it are the days that matter most. That's where greatness is hiding inside the resistance. Show up for yourself when it's hardest. That's when identity is forged. That's when character becomes real. There's no magic switch, just thousands of small decisions that nobody sees until they can't ignore you anymore. You will face silence, doubt, loneliness. Let them sharpen you. Let them purify your purpose. Because the ones who make it aren't always the loudest, they're just the most consistent. Stop asking, when will it get easier? Start asking, how can I get stronger? You're not chasing the end result, you're becoming the type of person who earns it. And that shift, that's the revolution. The goal is not comfort. The goal is capacity. Expand it daily. So stay uncomfortable, stay in motion, stay committed. Not to impress, not to prove, but because there's a future version of you watching, waiting, hoping you don't give up this time. Become someone they'd be proud of. Because when you keep your word to yourself day after day, life begins to trust you. And when life trusts you, it opens doors that discipline unlocked. You won't need permission. You'll earn access. That's the truth no one tells you. The game isn't rigged. It's revealed to the relentless. And you are relentless. One more rep, one more page, one more hour. That's how you separate. That's how you win. Keep going. You're almost unrecognizable already. This is not the end. This is the becoming. You don't need louder dreams. You need quieter excuses, fewer apologies, sharper focus. This is your season of refinement, of deep work, of invisible victories. The seeds you plant today will bloom in silence and shock the world in time. Refuse to coast. Refuse to settle. Refuse to be defined by yesterday's output. Because you are not finished. You are unfolding. You are forming into something powerful. Keep choosing the path that demands more of you. It's not punishment. It's preparation. Every time you rise, when it's easier to rest, you rise above mediocrity. Every time you show up when comfort calls, you call greatness closer. And when the spotlight finally finds you, it won't change you, because you were forged in places the light never reached. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you durable. So don't wait for things to get easier. Level up until hard things feel normal. Train your mind to lead. Train your body to follow. Train your heart to believe again. Your commitment must be louder than your comfort. Your effort must echo beyond your emotions. No more waiting, no more hoping, just choosing. Just showing up. You're not here to test the waters. You're here to own the ocean. This is not motivation. This is your reminder. You were born to build. You were made for more. This is your moment. Cement it in discipline. Anchor it in action. Fuel it with courage. Because nothing changes until you do. You must get up and move, even when the wind howls and the night feels endless, because the ones who win, the ones who rise, are the ones who push through the discomfort when no one is watching. When you think no one sees your effort, that's when the seeds of greatness are being planted, and in time, when others finally notice, it will be too late for them to catch up. You won't need to explain your journey. They'll see it in your eyes, hear it in your voice, feel it in your presence. Be relentless. Keep forging forward, even when the path disappears beneath your feet. The world bows to those who refuse to break. This is your time. Own it. You have to decide once and for all that average is not your identity. You were not made for mediocrity. Every single day that passes without commitment to excellence is a silent vote against your potential. Look at the patterns, the habits, the distractions. They're not innocent. They're thieves, thieves of greatness. Have you ever noticed how your mind drifts toward comfort, toward ease, toward that which requires no resistance? That's not your friend, it's the enemy disguised as relief. The ones who make history, who alter their destiny, are the ones who declare war on that voice that says, just rest a little longer. Discipline is not punishment. It is permission to live a life that demands your respect. You'll never regret the days you stayed focused, the hours you chose growth over entertainment, the mornings you dragged yourself into the arena when no one was watching. That's when the magic is made. You're not missing motivation, you're missing momentum. Action creates clarity. Movement generates power. But hesitation, it breeds doubt. And doubt is the slow death of every dream that ever mattered. Think about this. What if your current habits are sculpting a future you'll eventually resent? What if the you of tomorrow looks back and wonders why you didn't fight harder, push further, dare bigger? The life you want is not somewhere out there waiting to be found. It's waiting to be built brick by brick, decision by decision. Every small act of courage, every moment you refuse to quit, is another stroke in the masterpiece of your legacy. There's no shortcut, but there is a pattern. Relentless focus, ruthless consistency, unshakable faith in the vision you refuse to surrender. Stay uncomfortable, stay hungry, stay dangerous. Because every great transformation begins with a person who was no longer willing to tolerate their own excuses. This is your threshold. Step over it. Become the person your future is begging you to be. No one is coming to remind you. No one is showing up to save you. You are the hero, the architect, the warrior of your future. When you silence the world and listen inward, there's a whisper waiting for your attention. You were made for more. Build resilience like a fortress. Every time you're knocked down, rebuild with stronger bricks. Let every failure sharpen your precision. Let every loss carve clarity. Let every obstacle reveal what's truly inside you. Those who reach the summit aren't lucky. They're obsessed. They wake up with fire in their lungs and go to sleep with plans carved in stone. They understand that success is not an event, it's a lifestyle. No applause, no validation, no external push can replace the internal flame that says, "This matters, I will not back down." Greatness is boring, it's early mornings and late nights, it's repetition when everyone else seeks variety, it's mastery of fundamentals while others chase shiny shortcuts. It's showing up when no one sees and delivering when no one believes. You're not just building results, you're building reputation with yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and follow through, you earn trust, you earn respect, and one day, that internal belief becomes so unshakable, even failure bows in its presence. Your mission is bigger than your mood. Your purpose outweighs your pressure. Never negotiate with your potential. Never argue with your greatness. You are not chasing a dream, you are honoring a calling. That calling won't let you rest in comfort. It demands discomfort, it demands risk, and it rewards the few who dare to obey it fully. Let today be the turning point. Draw a line in the sand. Who you were is irrelevant. What you do now defines everything. Rise up, lock in, and never look back. Stop looking for signs. You are the sign. Stop searching for the perfect moment. You are the moment. The delay, the distraction, the doubt, they are illusions, barriers built by fear and disguised as caution. Smash them. You owe your future more than comfort. Ask yourself, who would you be without your limitations, without your excuses, without your constant need for reassurance? What if you lived as if your potential was undeniable, as if success was inevitable, as if you had no choice but to win? Every time you hesitate, a piece of your dream fades. Every time you postpone, your edge dulls. You don't get sharper by planning endlessly. You sharpen yourself in the fire of execution, where things go wrong, where you adapt, where you earn your grit. People talk about their dreams like they're sacred, untouchable. But dreams don't need worship, they need work. They don't need vision boards, they need sweat. You want a different life? Then become a different person. Rebuild your identity around progress, around perseverance, around power. You are not tired. You are underused. You are not burnt out. You are uninspired. You don't need more rest. You need more fire. You need to chase something that scares you, something that stretches you so far you can't return to who you were before. Commit to discomfort. Fall in love with difficulty. Let struggle become your training ground. The world is not waiting for another person to blend in. It's crying out for someone bold enough to rise. Every day is a page. Don't let fear write your story. Don't let doubt narrate your future. Grab the pen. Take control. Author a life that demands to be read out loud with pride. No one drifts into greatness. You don't accidentally wake up excellent. You forge it, relentlessly, day after day, choice after choice, until you're standing in a reality you once only imagined, and the world looks at you in awe while you look at yourself and know this is just the beginning. Your time is not tomorrow. It's not when you feel ready. It's not when the path is clear. It's now, in this mess, in this uncertainty, in this chaos. This is the arena where legends are made. So rise, push, break, build, become. You weren't born to wonder. You were born to prove it's possible. Every second that passes is asking you one thing. Will you answer your potential, or will you postpone your power? Let this be the hour you wake up, not just physically, but spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Wake up to your responsibility. Wake up to your gift. Wake up to the war that must be won inside before victory can manifest outside. And when that voice returns, the one that whispers, "You can't stand tall," and whisper back, "Watch me." There's a storm inside you, a force that has been waiting for permission to erupt. Stop taming it. Stop apologizing for your intensity, your ambition, your hunger. Let the fire consume the doubt. Let the flames purify your weakness. You think the world owes you clarity? No. You owe the world your contribution. You owe the world the best version of your awe. Focused, fierce. The world doesn't need another clone. It needs your originality, your scars, your truth. Every delay is a decision. Every distraction is a detour. You don't get time back. What you trade your attention for becomes your reality, so protect it. Starve your distractions. Feed your obsession. Do not underestimate the power of tenacity. Not talent, tenacity. Because the talented quit when it gets hard, but the tenacious, they keep going when nothing makes sense, when no one believes, when the progress is invisible and the pain is constant. That's when champions are born in the silence, in the solitude, in the brutal repetition of doing the work long after the mood has left. They become undeniable because they refuse to be invisible. Don't seek ease, seek elevation. Don't wait for validation. Validate yourself with results. And if the results aren't there yet, validate yourself with effort, with persistence, with the refusal to be average. Look around. Most people settle. Most people surrender. But you are not most people. You are the anomaly, the outlier, the one who decided that playing small was no longer an option. So build the habits that match your vision. Surround yourself with voices that fuel your fire, not feed your fear. Guard your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. You're not building for today. You're building for legacy, for impact, for generations that will live differently because you dared to become someone they could model. Let your pain produce purpose. Let your suffering shape strength. Turn every no into fuel. Turn every rejection into redirection. Turn every obstacle into a stepping stone. And above all, never forget, the fire inside you is real. It's sacred. And the moment you choose to honor it fully, the world won't know what hit it. Because when your commitment becomes louder than your excuses, your life transforms. That's when you stop living by default and start living by design. This is your moment. Don't let it slip. Fight for it, bleed for it, rise for it. Because if not now, when? If not you, who? Your life is not a rehearsal. This is the main act. There are no second takes, no rewinds, no pauses. So why are you waiting to live it fully? Why are you tiptoeing through the fire when you should be dancing in the blaze? It's not about being ready. It's about being relentless. The ones who win aren't always the most skilled. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. They fall, they rise, they fall again. And they rise stronger every single time. If you're afraid of failing, remember this. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a part of it. You don't get to mastery without mistakes. You don't get to strength without strain. You don't get to peace without war. So stop waiting to feel confident. Confidence doesn't come before action. It is born from it. You act, you stumble, you learn, and with every step, you become more than you were yesterday. Don't fear the discomfort of growth. Fear the permanence of regret. Regret is heavier than failure. It stays longer. It haunts deeper. So give everything you've got to the pursuit of your calling so you never have to wonder what could have been. You are not here by accident. Your breath is proof of purpose. Your existence is evidence of potential. So stop hiding behind fear disguised as logic. Stop calling hesitation wisdom when it's really resistance. Take the shot. Speak the truth. Burn the bridge if it leads to nowhere. And build a new one with your bare hands if you must. But don't stay stuck in places that suffocate your greatness. The pain of progress is temporary. The pride of perseverance is forever. Now go. Don't wait for certainty. Create it. Don't wait for signs. Become one. Don't hope for change. Be the reason it happens. This is your fire. Feed it. Let the world feel the heat. In every moment of indecision, you are given a chance just to choose a path, but to sculpt the character that walks it. Success isn't built in a day. It's built in the dozen choices we make in silence when no one is watching. The temptation to slack off, to delay, to settle, these are the quiet thieves of destiny. And every time you resist them, you're not just being productive, you're becoming unstoppable. There's something deeply powerful about the one who commits without applause, who wakes before the world stirs and works not for validation but for transformation, who understands that greatness is not declared, it's earned in the trenches of daily discomfort. In those moments when you could give up but don't, you're building a version of yourself capable of holding everything you ever dreamed of. Think about this. How many people do you know who start things with enthusiasm only to disappear when the process turns mundane? That's the trap. People crave excitement, not discipline. But the world doesn't reward the excited, it rewards the consistent. The ones who show up over and over long after the thrill is gone. Be that person. And if you think your effort isn't paying off fast enough, remember, time doesn't test your dreams, it tests your commitment to them. Most people quit not because it's hard, but because they expect it easy. They wanted shortcuts. You want results? Then earn them, without whining, without waiting for perfect conditions, without needing anyone to clap for you. Because the harsh truth is, no one's coming to push you. No one's obligated to believe in you. That's your job. Motivation is fleeting. Systems, habits, and grit, that's what carries you when inspiration runs dry. It's not about how you feel, it's about what you do, especially when you feel nothing. And here's the paradox. The more you do what you said you would do, even when you don't feel like it, the more powerful you become. You begin to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, you stop seeking permission, you stop shrinking to fit places that don't deserve you, you become dangerous in the best way possible. Because discipline compounds. Just like interest in a bank, each act of willpower makes the next one easier. Each day you keep your word strengthens the spine of your character, until one day you're unrecognizable from who you were. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. So when you feel like breaking, good. That's the signal that you're close to a breakthrough. Comfort never created conquerors. If it's painful, it means you're stretching. And if you're stretching, you're growing. Lean in. Burn the idea that success comes from talent alone. The world is full of talented people who never did anything with it. The marketplace doesn't pay for potential, it pays for results. And results come from repetition, from boring, brutal, beautiful repetition. Make excellence your baseline, not your peak. Make showing up non-negotiable. Make effort your identity. Because the truth is, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your standards. Raise them. If your goals don't scare you, they're not goals, they're errands. Dream bigger, then do the uncomfortable work that big dreams demand. And when doubt whispers, answer with action. When fear shouts, walk forward anyway. The storm is not your enemy, it's your training ground. And remember, the grind is sacred. The work you put in when no one's watching, that's your edge. That's what separates legends from the forgotten. You don't need motivation to begin. You need courage, you need hunger, you need to believe that everything you want is on the other side of consistency. Every rep, every late night, every sacrifice, they're not just tasks, they're declarations. You're telling the universe, I will not be ordinary. You're burning bridges to comfort. You're making excellence your only option. So stop waiting for signs. You are the sign. Stop waiting for the stars to align. You are the alignment. Life isn't going to hand you what you want. It's going to hand you obstacles and watch how you respond. Be relentless in your response. Write this on your soul. You are not owed results, you are owed nothing. But you are capable of everything. Show the world what that looks like. Start today. And if you've already started, double down. The fire is lit. Don't let it die with excuses. Feed it with action again and again until you become a force no setback can stop. This is your season to rise, to silence the noise, to make discipline your love language, and to finally become the kind of person your dreams require. Get to work. The future is waiting. You are standing at a threshold zone that separates your current life from the life you've imagined. And the only thing that will get you across is action, not intentions, not dreams, not planning action. You must act even when the outcome isn't guaranteed, because growth never is. It's in the doing, the striving, the stumbling and rising that transformation happens. Remember, greatness is not forged in moments of comfort, but in discomfort, in the tension between who you are and who you could be. If you're not feeling the weight of effort, you're not climbing. And if you're not climbing, you're not reaching for your peak. The pain of discipline will always be less than the pain of regret. When you sacrifice now comfort, distraction, procrastination, you secure a future built on purpose. Don't trade that for momentary ease. You are becoming someone your past self would admire. So when you're tired, remind yourself, you've come too far to only come this far. There's more in you. There's another level. And your next breakthrough lives on the other side of relentless consistency. You don't need permission. You don't need motivation. You need to decide once and for all that this time you finish what you started. Let them sleep. Let them laugh. Let them doubt. You've got work to do. The silence of the grind becomes the roar of achievement. So keep going, not for applause, not for validation, but because your future demands it. Discomfort is your ally. Repetition is your weapon. And resilience is your crown. Wear it with pride. Everything you want is upstream. Paddle harder, push longer, fight smarter. When it's hard, that's when it counts. That's when your future self leans in and whispers, keep going. No one will come do it for you, and that is your greatest gift. Because everything you build, you'll own. Every scar will be proof. Every win will be earned. Nothing borrowed, nothing faked, only forged. So stop hoping, start doing. It's your time, your test, your mountain, your rise. Every single morning, you're given a choice, to rise or to retreat. And the world doesn't pause for your hesitation. You're either moving forward or falling behind. So wake up with purpose. Wake up with fire. Let each day become proof of your intentions, not just reflections of your thoughts. The voices of doubt, both within and around you, will always try to pull you back into safety, but nothing remarkable has ever come from safety. You weren't made to hide, you were made to rise, to build, to challenge, to overcome. People won't always see the grind, they won't always understand the sacrifices, that's fine. You don't need them to, because your results will speak, your transformation will speak. The life you sculpt through discipline and effort will be the loudest answer. When fear knocks, answer with action. When fatigue shows up, answer with one more rep, one more try, one more day. The path is not supposed to be easy, it's supposed to make you worthy. And when the noise of the world grows loud, when it tempts you with shortcuts and distractions, remember who you are. Remember the standard you set. You are not average, you are not temporary, you are not for sale. You are the builder of your own legacy, the author of your future. So write it well, write it bold, write it with blood, sweat, and an unshakable will. You don't rise by chance, you rise by choice. Every repetition, every disciplined decision, every time you say not today, to excuses, you rise. And in the stillness of your effort, you will hear a truth no one can take from you, that you did it, that you didn't wait for conditions to be perfect. You moved anyway, you fought anyway, you grew anyway. You are no longer hoping for success, you are preparing for it, because preparation is the mark of belief. You're not wishing anymore, you're working, and that's how real results are made. So get back up, go again, finish stronger. There will be days when your body resists, when your mind screams to quit, when everything in you says, it's enough. Those are the days that separate winners from watchers. Do not negotiate with weakness. Do not entertain the comfort of surrender. Rise with defiance. Rise with fire. Your mission is greater than the mood you're in. Discipline doesn't care how you feel it, only asks what you'll do. And what you do today echoes into every tomorrow. Will you echo regret or greatness? You don't have to have it all figured out. Just move. Progress doesn't demand perfection, only persistence. Inch by inch, step by step, you're becoming the person capable of handling the life you dream about. Every obstacle is an invitation to evolve. Every setback is a mirror asking, are you really serious? Show the world you are. Show yourself. Because you are not defined by what happens to you, you are defined by how you respond. This is the part of your story where most people stop, but not you. You keep writing, you keep showing up, you keep rising, because this is who you are now, not someday, now. The consistency compass, a discipline beyond emotion. Every person who has reached greatness had to confront the same storm you're navigating now. The difference wasn't in the circumstances, it was in the compass they used to stay the course. That compass is consistency, powered not by motivation, but by the unwavering commitment to follow through. When others wait for the right feeling, the consistent move, they don't ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" They declare, "This is what I do, no matter how I feel." That's the shift from amateur to professional, from wishful thinking to iron discipline. Imagine a captain steering through violent waves. The sea doesn't care about his mood. It demands skill, focus, and decisions rooted in experience. Life operates the same way. If you wait for calm waters to take action, you'll remain docked forever, safe but stagnant. Consistency rewires your identity. Each repeated action carves a deeper groove into your character. You stop being someone who tries and become someone who is. You don't just study, you are a student. You don't just work out, you are an athlete. Identity forged by action. But consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means showing up even when it's messy, even when it's small. You don't break the chain. One brick at a time, day after day, you build the foundation of something unshakable. And yes, it will be boring. There will be days when progress is invisible, where every task feels redundant. But boredom is not your enemy. It's a sign you're doing the real work. It means you've stopped chasing novelty and started pursuing mastery. So ask yourself, who are you becoming with your actions today? Strip away the noise, the plans, the motivation. What's left is your behavior, and behavior repeated becomes destiny. There is a silent power in the person who stays the course, not loud, not flashy, just steady, overlooked by most but unstoppable in the long run. That's who you're becoming if you dare to walk this road long enough. The temptation to quit will whisper, "It doesn't matter today," but it always matters. Every skipped commitment, every avoided responsibility becomes a vote against the person you claim to be. Your future self is built brick by brick, no exceptions. Success isn't built in a frenzy of excitement. It's built in the quiet, repetitive actions done without applause. Think of a sculptor chiseling at a block of marble. One strike does nothing. 10 strikes barely leave a dent. But the 1,000th strike, that's when the form begins to emerge. And every single strike mattered. Your goals don't need more inspiration. They need more execution. Do it when you're tired. Do it when you're uninspired. Do it when no one's watching. Because that's what makes you different. That's what makes you dependable. And in a world addicted to drama and dopamine, dependability is your unfair advantage. Remember this, consistency compounds. Small actions, repeated daily, become monumental over time. One page read becomes a library consumed. $1 saved becomes financial freedom. One push-up becomes a transformed body. The results are invisible today, but inevitable tomorrow. Guard your rituals like they're sacred. Your habits are the blueprint of your future. What you do in private shapes what the world will see in public. Discipline is remembering what you want, even when the feeling is gone. Stop negotiating with your inner weakness. Stop letting temporary emotions override permanent intentions. Be the one who shows up when it's hard. Be the one who stays late, gets up early, and does the uncomfortable. Because one day, that discipline will pay dividends. While others drown in regret and distraction, you'll be standing tall, built by consistency. You won't have to talk about it, your results will speak for you. This is the season to fall in love with effort, to embrace the mundane, to train your mind like a soldier trains for war. This isn't motivation, this is commitment. And when your life is built on commitment, you no longer chase greatness, it chases you. So take a breath, straighten your spine, and return to the task. Let your actions whisper who you're becoming. Let your repetition sing louder than any excuse. This is how you rise on quiet, consistent day at a time. Every day you delay your progress, the gap widens. Not between you and others, but between you and who you could have become. That silent distance grows quietly, unnoticed, until it becomes a canyon of regret. Don't let that be your legacy. You were not born to live on repeat. You were not designed to be a shadow of your own potential. The world doesn't need another excuse maker. It needs someone who decides. Someone who chooses discomfort over mediocrity, who replaces dreams with decisions and feelings with follow-through. Let others sleep in. Let others coast. Let others post quotes they don't live by. You? You act. You execute. You build the future in silence, far from the applause, with the hammer of discipline and the nails of consistency. Because every day you show up, you sharpen the edge of your character, you shape your story. And one day when others ask how you did it, your only answer will be, I never stopped. Not when it hurt. Not when it was boring, not when it was thankless. Momentum is earned through repetition. One day of action is a spark, 10 is a flame, 100 is a fire. But it's only after 1,000 days of consistent effort that you become unstoppable. Don't look for shortcuts, don't chase hacks, build yourself the hard way. That's the way that lasts. Stop looking for the perfect plan. Start with the imperfect action. Discipline isn't about intensity, it's about duration. Can you keep showing up long after the novelty wears off? Can you keep moving when it's not fun anymore? If you can, you're dangerous. If you can, you're inevitable. This is your invitation to become relentless, to quiet the noise, to outlast the storm, to choose hard when easy is an option. You are not here to impress. You are here to transform. You are not chasing a goal. You are becoming the kind of person who achieves it no matter what. Most people quit long before they fail. They confuse discomfort with danger, and they abandon the path the moment it feels unfamiliar. But not you. You've already decided this isn't a hobby, it's your identity. It's not about motivation, it's about who you are when no one's looking. There will be no applause today, no audience. Just the sound of your own breath, steady and determined. That's the rhythm of progress. That's the music of those who are becoming unrecognizable to their former selves. You've tasted the difference between movement and progress. You know that busyness is not the same as building. So you discard the distractions, silence the noise, and double down on the few actions that actually move the needle. You're not chasing hype, you're building legacy. And that takes a different level of patience, a different breed of belief, the kind that wakes up sore and still shows up, the kind that fails and still returns stronger. People will doubt you, let them. Their doubt is irrelevant to your design. You're not here for validation, you're here for transformation. Every hour invested in growth, while others waste theirs, is a silent rebellion against mediocrity. You are becoming someone worth watching, and not because you talk about it, but because you live it, because your calendar matches your ambition, because your habits scream louder than your words. Let others settle. You are not them. You are the one who rewrites the pattern. You are the one who walks away from comfort to build something sacred, one brick at a time, 1 hour at a time. One disciplined decision at a time. This is how greatness is built. This path isn't meant to be easy. If it were, everyone would walk it. But they don't. They choose comfort, distraction, excuses. You chose the climb. You chose the silence. You chose to confront the version of yourself that settles and bury him. There's power in showing up after failure. There's power in continuing when the fire fades. That power belongs to you now, because you've proven that your commitment doesn't depend on how you feel. It depends on what you've decided. You've burned the bridges behind you. There's no going back. Only forward. Only deeper. And every step you take now echoes with the weight of a future that's already being built. You don't need more time. You need more focus, more urgency, more ruthless elimination of the useless. Because mastery doesn't come from doing more right, comes from doing less, better, longer. No one will come and save you. No mentor, no book, no lucky break. You are the turning point. You are the deciding factor. And when you finally realize that, everything shifts. You don't rise by chance. You rise by choice, by discipline, by showing up when it's boring, when it's brutal, when it breaks you, and you still rebuild. That's how legends are made. That's how your future self is built, not by emotion, but by endurance, not by hype, but by habit. So the next time doubt whispers, remind it who you are. Remind it what you've survived. Remind it that this time you finish what you start. No matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets. This time you become the person you were meant to be. You've come too far to turn back now. You've endured the silence, the doubt, the unseen grind. All of it wasn't for nothing. It was preparation. For the next level, for the final push, this is the moment where most people hesitate, but not you. You don't hesitate, you advance. You trust the process you built with your own hands. You trust the fire that never left your chest. What you're building isn't ordinary. That's why it requires extraordinary patience, unshakable resilience, and ruthless consistency. So take one more step, then another and another, until there's no room for the old you to return. This is how you change your life, one irreversible decision at a time. And as we come to the close of this transformative journey, let this be your reminder. Every principle you've heard isn't just a theory, it's a call to action. A call to rise above mediocrity, to embrace discipline, to lead with intention, and to live with unstoppable purpose. Let these truths echo in your mind tomorrow morning and every day after, because when you consistently apply them, you're no longer hoping for success, you're creating it. Thank you for walking this path with us. Now go and build the life you were meant to live. Until next time, stay bold, stay focused, and never stop growing.